What up, my gals and gamers? Welcome to It's Always Sunny in Skyrim. I did not think of a good location. Well, anyway, welcome to It's Always Sunny in Hollywood. Today, we're not going to be talking about a movie. We are going to be talking about video games because E3 was last week. And there are a lot of announcements, and we like video games as much as an art form as movies.
We're the
So
most oppressed group of all.
yes, we are the most oppressed group of all, gamers. So yeah,
Just a
let's
heads
just
up, we are recording this in the middle of episode 17, which is why Patrick is not here. And I will be putting out this video sooner than that episode. So there's gonna be a little bit of a time paradox when it comes to uploads, but whatever.
Alright, so let's talk about video games. So, are you a fan of Dark Souls?
No!
Really? God damn. Alright, well...
I've never played a Dark Souls game. I intend to play the first game, though.
What about Game of Thrones?
Never watched it.
You ever play Bloodborne?
That's Dark Souls, right?
That's part of the Dark Souls series, but it's a standalone game.
It's made by FromSoft. It plays like
It's
Dark
made by
Souls.
FromSoft, but it's a standalone game.
Still plays like Dark Souls.
Yes, it plays faster than Dark Souls. I'd actually recommend Bloodborne being your first FromSoft game. I'd argue it's the best one, but it's also the one that's oddly enough the most accessible. It's incredibly hard, but it's the kind of hard where you understand the mechanics a lot quicker than you understand the mechanics of Dark Souls. They announced their next they finally showed gameplay for their next title, Elden Ring. A lot of people are excited about this one because this one is actually being written by George R.R. Martin, the creator of Game of Thrones, the books. He didn't write that terrible TV show ending. He wrote all the good parts of the show.
At least we know it's in good hands.
Yeah, so the director, Hidetaka Miyazaki, has not made a bad game in the Souls series yet. The one game people consider bad in the Souls series is Dark Souls 2, and he didn't actually work on that game. So yeah, this game is probably going to be one of the greatest games of all time. I'm looking forward to it. I am a huge Bloodborne and Sekiro fan. I have not played actually any of the Souls games. I've only played Bloodborne and Sekiro, but I'll get around to playing the Souls games eventually. In much more tragic news, they announced the latest Just Dance game, and unfortunately, it will not be making its appearance on the Wii, marking the Wii as officially dead now.
I'm surprised that they managed to make Just Dance games for the Wii for like 10 consecutive years after the Wii supposedly died.
Yes. I'm sure many elderly people at nursing homes are very upset that the next Just Dance goodness will not be able to make it into their homes.
Do we even know if there's a game on Wii U now?
Yeah, there's Just Dance games on the Wii U, but who the fuck bought a Wii U except me? And Patrick.
And me.
And you. Okay, all three of us got the Wii U. Yeah. We're all suckers, huh? Nah, I actually really like my Wii U. I think some of the games work there better. Like, I don't know. I prefer Pikmin 3, but then again, the Switch versions get DLC, huh? Like, I think Captain Toad plays better on the Wii U, but the Switch version got DLC, so I got the Switch version. Even though, mechanically wise, not as tight. Anyway, they are making an Avatar game. Not The Last Airbender, don't get your hopes up. It's James Cameron's Avatar.
One.
I think it would be incredibly funny if this game came out before the movie did, the sequel.
I've never seen Avatar, so I can't really say much about it.
You've never seen Avatar?
No, I haven't.
Like, I wouldn't recommend you watch it, but like, I'm just impressed that you haven't seen it yet.
Hey, I live under a rock. I thought you knew this.
Yeah, it's not terrible, but, you know, it's nothing really outstanding. What I'm curious about this game is, like, is it a new story or is it just telling the plot of the first movie? Because they already adapted the first movie into a video game before. Because, back in the 360 era, they still made licensed games. They're a lot more of a rarity now, but...
They still exist.
Well, I mean, they still exist, but most of the licensed games now are for, like... Look at the last SpongeBob license game. That wasn't just any license game. That was a remake of an existing license game that people already liked. Like, to me, that's very different than what most people associate with licensed games.
Shovelware.
And then you got like Spider-Man and let's be real, superhero licensed games. They're in a very different league than most other licensed games. Anyway, speaking of platformers, since we're on Battle for Bikini Bottom, they finally showed off a trailer for Psychonauts 2 and I believe a date. So that's going to be cool. I'm a big fan of the first Psychonauts.
I want
I
to
will.
play the first one so bad. That's 3D collectathon, much like Mario 64, right?
Yes, I'd say it's more comparable to Ratchet and Clank because it's got more of like an action adventure angle. Story wise, I'd say if you're a fan of Invader Zim, you'd probably like it. It's
It should
also
be on
made by.
Steam, right?
Yeah, it is on Steam. That's how I got it.
Okay.
They are also making a sequel to Stalker, which is this cult classic first-person shooter, survival first-person shooter. I think that's going to be very interesting because here's the thing: Stalker is based off of a movie by Tarkovsky, and that movie is considered to be one of the greatest movies of all time. And I find it incredibly funny that some movie spawned off some first-person shooter that's also considered one of the greatest games of all time, and now they're making a sequel to it. Like, this is an insane fucking franchise. You don't play first-person shooters, right?
Not really, no.
All right. The Stalker announcement means nothing to you, as
And
does the next one.
Halo also means nothing to me.
Yes. Halo Infinite. Halo is still at least culturally a big deal because we grew up in the 2000s.
Everyone talked about it.
Halo was the franchise of the two. Halo was apparently a franchise so good it single-handedly put Xbox on the map. I haven't even played any of the Halo games. I mean, I played a little bit of one at one of my friends' place, and it actually is incredibly fun. I'm probably going to play through the games. And I remember seeing all those trailers, and like, a lot of people are excited for Halo Infinite because it seems to finally capture what was missing with the last few entries. Because a lot of people think that once Bungie, the studio that created Halo, left the franchise, the series just went completely downhill. It went like Crash Bandicoot. We're like, they're not terrible, but it's just not the same as the OG series,
Yeah.
But people finally think that this one might be capturing that OG charm again. Speaking of which, the Outer Worlds 2 got announced. This one I'm a lot more this one I'm also looking forward to, but I'm pretty hesitant on. So the Outer Worlds 1 and this one, they're both created by the company Obsidian. And Obsidian is probably best known for creating Fallout New Vegas, which is, in my opinion, and in many people's opinion, one of the greatest games of all time. And The Outer Worlds was marketed as basically a spiritual successor to Fallout New Vegas. However, once the game came out, it actually ended up being more of a spiritual successor to Fallout 3. Fallout 3 is not a good game, neither is 4. I mean, they're not terrible, but they're just incredibly mediocre.
Okay, because I was about to say, I thought a lot of people liked 3.
They like 3, but it's more of like that's a game like Skyrim where it's mostly just fun to dick around in. And it's fun with mods. Like New Vegas, that's like a legit game that's fun with no like community support needed. New Vegas is amazing. I highly recommend you play that game.
Okay.
You may need to download some mods for patches, but like vanilla game is fine. And I'm really hoping that Outer Worlds 2, they kind of learned their lesson from the mistakes of the first one, and they're able to actually finally pull off the Fallout New Vegas 2 we've always wanted. Anyway, let's go into the Square Enix presentation. You're much more familiar with Square Enix, right?
A little bit. I didn't see the presentation, though.
Yes, but
Although I am
okay.
a little bit familiar with what came out of it.
A lot of people hated this presentation because most of it was talking about Marvel. They announced some Guardians of the Galaxy game, which apparently is made by Eidos, developers of the Deus Ex series.
Yeah.
And it's so weird because I don't know why Square doesn't have the rights to use the likenesses from the MCU game, from the MCU movies, because they're very clearly based off the MCU versions, but they're not like allowed to use the actual MCU design, so they're like this. They come off as like a bootleg porn parody version of the characters. But yeah, it looks kind of mediocre.
Then again, Square has also been iffy about other companies using their IPs. So maybe this is kind of retribution for that.
What I find weird is like you think that Disney would like trust Square more, considering they have given them complete freedom with Kingdom Hearts. Like, I don't know, maybe one of the maybe one of the like executives at Disney decided to actually play one of the Kingdom Hearts games and was like, "What the fuck does Mickey have drip?" They're like, "All right, let's reel them in on the designs a bit. I'm not sure about this, but you know what? You're cowards. Tetsuya Nomura's designs are elite." And
Belts and
speaking of
zippers, baby.
yeah, and his new fetish is played. Man, I am so excited for The World Ends With You too, man. I fucking love the first game. The second one was dope. But speaking of Tetsuya Nomura, I find it ironic that just praises designs because they announced a Final Fantasy spin-off called Final Fantasy Origins, which is like I guess a retelling of the original Final Fantasy story.
This
And
one I
everyone is
saw Twitter explode with.
I think it looks incredibly fun, but it's also incredibly funny how all of them just look like regular dudes. You'd find them shopping at the Gap or like American Eagle or some shit. The main character looks like Paul Walker from the Fast and Furious movies. It's so funny, but he still has like his giant JRPG sword. Like it, Nomura just like made the most like milk toast design, but it kind of works in the most insane way. There's so much chaos posting memes. Everyone's talking about, oh, I gotta kill chaos.
Yes.
Where's chaos? God, I'm excited for it. Honestly, like it's amazing. Like Final Fantasy 16 looks like a new DMC game, and this game looks like a new DMC game. You know,
Like the
Ninja
reboot
Theory, Ninja Theory DMC.
with
Um,
Don'ty.
yeah, I actually heard those games are like not actually that bad, but like kind
The
of
definitive
funny.
edition I hear is good.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk a bit about Way Forward. This one I know you're actually going to be excited for because you played the first one. River City Girls is getting a sequel.
And a prequel?
No. I think that what they're doing with River City Girls Zero is incredibly stupid because River City Girls Zero is not actually a new game. I thought it was going to be like Blaster Master Zero, where, oh, it's a new game. It's not. They Doki Doki Panic this shit. This is Super Mario Bros. 2. They took an existing, like, Japanese game that never came out in America, and then they just called it River City Girls Zero. I'm like, you can't do that. This is 2021. Come on, man. Like, why?
The 90s are over.
I guess. Whatever. Speaking of Doki Doki, Doki Doki Literature Club is getting an enhanced version for Switch. Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. I don't know. I never played that game. Could be fun.
I did. It's good for a first playthrough. It's one of those games that you gotta go in blind.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know what happens, so
Well,
whatever. From what I heard, this kind of reminds me of Riley Rewind. Haha, I'm going to recommend that movie one day. I might double feature it with a worse movie.
why would you do that?
Anyway, let's go into Super Monkey Ball Mania. Looks like they are remastering the original first two Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2 Deluxe, all that shit.
This is
So that's
also the
pretty
series'
cool.
20th anniversary.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Super Monkey Ball. I think it is the best series from that creator who also created the Yakuza series. I love you, Kiryu, but Monkey. And I guess the last announcement from Capcom's thing was that Resident Evil 8 is getting DLC. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's it.
And now it's time for the big boy. I did not expect Nintendo to actually have a good E3 conference. I went in with like no expectations. It was like, probably just be a Smash reveal and maybe
The only
Breath
things
of the
that I
Wild
were
2.
expecting from Nintendo was Breath of the Wild 2, the new Smash character, Metroid Prime 4, and maybe Bayonetta 3. I was right on
I didn't
half
even
of
expect
those.
those. I didn't even expect that. Like, I didn't even think that they were gonna have Breath of the Wild 2 news. I thought they were, I thought like that motherfucker was gonna come up and be like, "We do not have any news for Breath of the Wild 2, but we have more footage from Skyward Sword." and then like
You guys
20
like
minutes
Skyward
trailer.
Sword, right?
Skyward Sword. You know what's funny is that the director of Skyward Sword directed Breath of the Wild. Like
I mean,
it's the
there's some
same dude.
influence from Skyward Sword in there, but
Yeah, yeah. Like the Zelda producer, like they're actually like two major guys working on Zelda. There's
Aonuma.
Aonuma that we all know, but then there's this dude that they brought over from Capcom who directed all those portable Zelda games. They brought him along just into the mainline Zelda thing, and he had him direct Skyward Sword and now Breath of the Wild, and Breath of the Wild 2, of course. But anyway, Kazuya from Tekken is in Smash. That was a big Smash reveal. I think it's pretty cool. My Tekken, I would say, like, if you're gonna say what are the big three fighting game franchises, it'd be Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken. Like, let's be real, those are the
Yeah.
three big. Those are the big three. So we just need to
King
get
of Fighters
Scorpion
was
in the.
just the funny one they put in. Although I
No,
do
King.
like
I
Terry.
no, I'm gonna be honest. King of Fighters, I'd say that's a strong fourth one. Like my Shiranui and Terry, I've known about them. Like I'd say they're number 4, and like Darkstalkers maybe number 5. Maybe like Virtua Fighter or Killer Instinct
Dead or
number
Alive,
6.
Soul Calibur.
Yeah, Dead or Alive, Soul Calibur. So I don't know. Maybe they can get one of each. Yeah. Nintendo does have a decent relationship with Soul Calibur. Wasn't like Zelda. I mean, Link in one of
Link
them.
was in the second game.
They should have thrown Clay Fighters as a gag, or Samurai Showdown.
I've never played a Tekken game personally, but Kazuya looks pretty interesting from what I've seen.
Yeah. What fucks me up about Tekken is that my parents played Tekken.
Really?
Like before I was born, like their friend had a PlayStation, so yeah, my mom played Tekken. I was like, what the fuck? And my dad was like, yeah, and she would always kick my ass, and I was like, what the hell? Anyway, there's a new Mario Party.
For all we know, the new Mario Party is borrowing maps from previous games. They showed off 2 of them from Mario Party 1.
Yeah, so
The
it looks like
cool thing
they're
they added, though, was the online functionality where the game saves your progress when you quit out. So you can resume a multiplayer session, like, at any
shit.
time.
I might if this game turns out to be an improvement from Super Mario Party, I might get this game. It'd be cool to play with you and Patrick.
I'd still probably play
Over
the
online.
N64 games, but they're taking the steps in the right direction. I'll give them that.
N64 games, I don't know. I think the GameCube games are a bit better.
Those are good. I prefer the N64 ones.
Yeah, all right.
I like the chaos.
Anyway, the news that I got most hyped for because it completely blindsided me is Metroid Dread. I am a huge 2D Metroid fan.
Dude, this was the one for me.
I played all the classic. The only game I haven't played is Metroid 2.
I played all versions of Metroid 2 except the Game Boy one, but
yeah,
holy shit, it's about time they made a Metroid 5.
Actually, I have played the Game Boy one. I just haven't played any of the remakes. So I've played every Metroid 2D Metroid game. I love the series. But what's really cool about Metroid Dread is Metroid Dread was actually like a game they developed in the early 2000s. Like
Yeah,
it
initially was supposed to be a DS game.
Yeah, it was meant to be the sequel to Metroid Fusion, but then it got canceled, and I don't know, I guess they were like, you know what? After a few years, maybe the creator was like, I got some good ideas. I can make this work. So they brought back Metroid Dread. It's so cool. This is like when
No,
they
what
brought
really
back Star
happened
Fox
was
2.
they took a look at Samus Returns from Mercury Steam, and they realized that they were very competent developers in that game, and credit where credit is due. Samus Returns is still a very good game. It's not one of my personal favorites, but it's still competently made. So they saw the potential in that from Mercury Steam, and they said, you know what? Maybe we could actually give Metroid Dread the limelight.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it, huh? Nintendo was like, okay, while you wait for Metroid Prime 4, why don't we give you a new Metroid game instead?
What interests me about Dread, though, is how much inspiration it takes from Fusion and then some. Because
Yeah,
it looks like the new Stalker enemies, what are they called, Emmys? Those are kind of like the SAX, except what if there were more of them? They were not put in scripted sequences, and the game was non-linear. Well, I mean, the game's not out yet, but
maybe
we were
they're drawing
informed that it
maybe
would be non-linear.
Maybe they're drawing influence from their Metroid 2 stuff because those could function kind of like the Metros that you have to hunt down.
No, the Emmys are completely invincible.
Ah. Well, still, it could work for some horror stuff, because, like,
Yeah, it seems
those
like
giant
this is
Metroids
a
are kind of
much
freaky.
more
Yeah.
drastic take on Fusion's core concepts.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what influence they're going to take from the Alien movies, because every Metroid 2D Metro game drew, like, blatant inspiration from the Alien movies, huh?
Yeah.
Let's see, are they going to draw from Prometheus and Alien Covenant? Who knows? But yeah, I'm especially looking forward to the story. People don't play Metroid for the story, I know, but chronologically, this is going to be the latest game, because the Prime games are actually technically they take place in between 1 and 2. I wonder if Prime 4 is still going to take place after Prime 3, though, or if they're going to go somewhere new with that. Who knows? Where was I? Ah, new WarioWare game. That looks cool. I like it. They're adding this interesting mechanic where there's actually multiple playable characters and they all play differently. So you play the same mini games, but like with a different character, it'll end up different. So I'm like, oh, that's a neat mechanic. That would be fun. Spice things up.
I might pick that up. I've never really played a WarioWare game before.
I've dabbled in with the DS one. I think one of the DS ones. I think Gold.
That
Um.
was 3DS.
All right, maybe not Gold. Whichever one was on.
It's probably either
Do it
do it
yourself.
yourself or touched.
It was probably do it yourself. I think. Then there's SMT5. So we're both Persona fans. I've also dabbled into the mainline.
Okay, I've never played a Persona game. I just know of
You aren't?
Persona.
I could have swore you played Persona 5.
No, I didn't.
Oh shit. Okay, never mind. Well, I'm a huge Persona fan. I played 3, 4, and 5. I have not finished 3. I'm gonna finish it eventually, but I completed 4 Golden on the Vita, and then I played 5, later down the line. And I even played a little bit of SMT4 on the 3DS. I think I downloaded like the demo when I was a kid. So yeah, I don't know. I thought SMT5 looked pretty cool. They finally showed off gameplay for it, so yeah, pretty neat. Are you a Danganronpa fan?
No. I have the trilogy on my PC.
Well, now you can get the trilogy on your Switch, because that's what they announced. Yep.
It's basically Ace Attorney, but rated M.
Yeah. I only played the first Danganronpa game. I'll get around to the other two eventually. Anyway, they are porting or remastering the Fatal Frame game that was exclusive to the Wii U. That's cool, I guess. What I'm really excited for though is they are remaking slash rebooting the Advanced Wars series. The Advanced Wars series was a tactical RPG that Nintendo, I guess, made for the West, because I think these came out before they decided to commit to Fire Emblem, because these were Game Boy games. But I actually grew up with these Advanced War games. I thought they were cool as hell. So yeah, it's
I know a
cool,
lot of people
neat.
like them. I just
Yeah,
never
it's
experienced them personally.
I find it interesting. I think we're like in the so nostalgia works on like the 20-year cycles and 30-year cycles. I think we're finally in that era where stuff from our childhood is getting remade, because now we're at the age where we can actually like buy shit. So
Yeah.
they're like, oh, all the kids that, because like we're turning 21 like this year. We all got jobs and shit. So yeah, they're like, ah, we got a new era of consumers. Let's all throw back to them, huh?
Get that
The Metroid,
nostalgia boner
the
nice and
the
erect.
Metroid, yeah. You remember Ratchet and Clank? You grew up with those games. Well, here's Ratchet and Clank 5, huh? Well, not 5. I think 7. There's a lot of Ratchet and Clank games.
There's a lot of
Oh,
spin-offs.
you liked fucking Metroid Fusion on your Game Boy Advance? Remember the Game Boy Advance? Well, here's a sequel to the Game Boy Advance Metroid game. Here's a remake of another Game Boy Advance series you grew up with. Here's some Super Monkey Ball that was popular during the PS2 era. We're
Y'all
bringing back
motherfuckers
Halo.
like Mario Party?
We're bringing Halo back to its Xbox original roots. We're bringing back Psychonauts 2, all that shit. So a real throwback to, I guess, our era of gaming. And I guess now for the final and the big boy news, Breath of the Wild 2. We finally got to see gameplay, and it looks
How
incredibly
long
good.
has it been since the initial trailer?
2 years.
Fuck.
2019. So the new Breath of the Wild looks sick as hell. Link got a new design. He's got long ass hair and shit now. they showed off a bunch of new powers, like the freeze power up where you can smack shit around and get sent flying.
Stasis.
It looks like in the trailer that stasis can now affect multiple objects, because that was kind of cool. They had this like weird power up where like phase like through something. So that was kind of neat.
It's a
So
nice
yeah, it looks like
alternative for trying to climb mountains on rain.
yeah. So they got a bunch of new powers. They got a. It looks like the map they're changing it. So I know they said they're exploring the same Hyrule, but
They're also using the sky as one of the main features. Which
yeah,
I find
Skyward
weird
Sword
because they're
2,
also releasing
baby.
Skyward Sword HD.
Skyward Sword 2, baby. Yeah. They didn't show Zelda. I don't think she was in the trailer, which I know the
She
first
fell down
teaser
a
had.
pit.
All right, okay, that explains it.
Other than
They
that,
had
it
to.
feels like they're just adding a little bit more to Breath of the Wild, but you know what? I'm game.
I think it looks pretty damn different, and I love Breath of the Wild. I'm not actually a huge 3D Zelda fan. My forte has always been the 2D games. Like I love Majora's Mask, of course, but like outside of that, I'm a bit iffy on it. I think they're good. I like Wind Waker, I like Ocarina of Time, but
I'm the opposite. I think 3D Zelda is probably the peak. Breath
ah,
of the Wild is also no different to me. It's not my favorite personally, but I like it a lot.
I'm not sure if it's my favorite 3D Zelda game because like I really like Majora's Mask, but like definitely at least second favorite 3D Zelda. But like I don't know, Link Between Worlds, I think that shit hits. Man, fucking Link's Awakening. I think Link's Awakening that's like second to Majora's Mask in terms of charm.
Funny how
Uh
both the games don't take place in Hyrule.
so yeah. And one final news, Nintendo just kind of slipped this by, but at the Treehouse Live thing or whatever, they actually showed a demo for No More Heroes 3, so that's kind of cool.
I did not see
Nice to
this.
see.
I didn't watch the
Yeah,
Treehouse event.
the Treehouse event actually happened at 6, so I didn't see it either because we were starting then. But I saw it on my timeline before I booted up. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I have not played No More Heroes, but I'm a big Suda 51 fan, and
Which
I don't know.
Suda games have you played?
Killer 7.
Then you'd like the first game.
I'm planning on playing Flower, Sun, and Rain. That's one of his earlier games. I'm gonna play that on the DS, and then I'll probably get around to No More Heroes. But yeah, Suda 51, cool fella. But yeah, that's basically all the video game news for today. This was
Nintendo
an
saved
interesting.
E3.
This is an interesting E3 because like Xbox had a really strong showing, Nintendo had a really strong showing, and that's kind of it. Square Enix really dropped the ball. Capcom was really short, so I don't know if you can really call that even an event. I mean, there's some like other minor news like that we glossed over, like like some new DLC for like the fucking Dragon Ball Z Kakarot game, but I don't care about that, huh? Oh, I guess in terms of indie games, I thought Sable looked pretty cool. Looked like some Journey Zelda type thing, more of a sci-fi take on a Zelda thing. And you ever play Hypnospace? No, not Hypnospace. Hyper Light Drifter.
No.
Well, Hyper Light Drifter is like this. I don't know. It's how Shovel Knight is to retro platformers.
Yes.
I've heard Hyper Light Drifter is like it's to that what it's to Zelda likes and Diablo type games.
Okay.
Hyper Light Drifter is indie Zelda. Let's say that. Well, anyway, they showed off the sequel, and the sequel's really cool because it's actually 3D. Like it's not the 2D pixelated stuff you'd expect from an indie game. Nope, it's fully 3D. It looks like this weird mix of like Shadow of the Colossus and Jet Set Radio, because he's like skating and shit, and you see him skating on this giant bird, and it looks sick as hell. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, those are the two indie games I wanted to highlight. So much stuff about Metroid Dread came out though. Like, good lord, like
Yeah, they even
they
released a
already,
developer commentary for it.
yeah, they already showed up the amiibos. They showed up thing. Like this game's coming out in October. It's coming out quick. Like damn, pretty solid E3, I guess. I don't know. I
In
measured my
some
expectations pretty well.
aspects.
I don't know. I measured my expectations, so I wasn't particularly disappointed. Yeah. Welcome to Geeks and Gaming, where we talk about oppression and social issues. The Kick is a Lie. My Girlfriend Had a Miscarriage. Penny Arcade. 2000s video game culture was so like fucking weird, man. Good lord. Like I kind of want to go back, but I also kind of no don't. When I was your young age, I took an arrow into the knee. God, memes lasted so long.
All belong to us.
Yeah, fucking red versus blue, huh? You know, I ain't play Halo, but I seen red versus blue. Good lord. Okay, yeah. See you next week when we talk about a movie. Um, I'm not sure which movie because I don't know when this podcast episode will come out. Happy Pride Month.
Gamers rise up.
Yeah, oh shit. Maybe we shouldn't have made all the gamer oppressed jokes during Pride Month. Not think about it. Oh shit. Oh boy. Anyway, see you guys. See you next week. Or whenever the next episode pops up.